I haven't been live in a few days, but I'm gonna stay consistent as much as I can. But this video, man, it's something that I wanted to talk about before, but I got caught up in a lot of personal stuff. You know how life is. Sometimes you get hit with these curveballs, but you gotta bounce back and push push harder and move forward to the greater things in life. But I want to talk about this YouTuber, and he's known as he's known as Blackmail Advice TV, but he's changed his name now to RingoTv Reacts. He does make really good videos, but I gotta call out the hypocrisy when it comes on to him shaming these passport bros. I gotta call it out, man. I gotta call it out. I don't see a lot of people that is really speaking out against this guy, because what he's basically doing, he's taking the role of a feminist. You know, what are some of the things he talks about? I'm like, this is what a feminist would say. For instance, I'm gonna start off like the list of things that he's saying that is not true across the board for everyone. He said verbatim that guys who are so-called passport bros that identifies as a part of the passport bros, or identify or just resonate with that movement, basically are traveling overseas for the sole purpose of getting sex. And my problem with that statement in itself is that it's not backed up with any facts, any evidence. It's just a general statement that he's making as if this is true across the board. And I can't stand people who make general statements and then they act as if it's true, it's facts. It's like you don't have any empirical evidence to prove that all the guys who travel overseas are doing it so for the sole purpose of getting sex from women. There's so many different reasons as to why guys would want to travel overseas, and he always played this symptomatic game of like, oh well, if you're going overseas to travel, nothing wrong if you're going to experience the culture, try different foods. First of all, don't tell a grown man what the fuck he should do with his own time, with his own money. If he wants to do, if he wants to travel for the experience of dating multiple women, so be it. That's his prerogative. You don't have you don't have the right to tell a man what he should do with his own time and his own money. That's none of your fucking business. I can't stand YouTubers like this who try to dick police a grown man or what he should do with his own time. If he's investing time and money into traveling overseas, and he decides, okay, I'm just gonna deal with women on a just basically just a case to case basis. I'm gonna have fun. I'm just going to date multiple women. That's his prerogative. Like, you cannot tell a man what he should. Grown ass man. It's like he's dick policing these men, saying, "Oh, all they're doing is going overseas to just have sex." And I'm just saying, you don't know that for a fact. You cannot speak as if you know the intentions of every man that decides to go overseas. Are there guys that go overseas just to have sex with women? Of course. But there are also guys who go overseas because they want to try something new. They want to get out of their comfort zone. They want to expand their horizon and their knowledge of different cultures. And it's not necessarily they're going overseas just to deal with women. It's that they want to do something that they're not accustomed to. So it's like for you to just put all men under the same category, saying every man that do this is only going overseas for sex, is very asinine to me, and it just shows the lack of uh, maturity in his part when it comes on to how he's assessing the situation with these so-called passport bros. And then he makes this other general statement that guys who see themselves as MGTOW are basically joining forces with the passport bros. And before there's even a term called passport bros and guys who are MGTOWs, or guys who identify with these movements, they're guys who always been traveling overseas. This is not something new. He's making it seem like this is a new era or a new trend that's been going on. Guys been traveling overseas for years, countless years. This is nothing new. This has been going on for ages. So you're just making it seem as if, oh, this is something new that's been going on. Guys been traveling overseas to different countries and establish themselves in these countries, or going back and forth from the countries to the states. And each person's situation is unique. Nobody's the same. Nobody is gonna be able to just travel overseas and then stay there for a certain period of time. Some people have the ability to travel back and forth, and if they decide that's the way they're gonna do it, that's their prerogative. You cannot tell a grown man what he should do with his time and his money, and you are not the all-knowing creator. Like you're taking this moral high ground. It's kind of weird to me that you got a grown man trying to dick police another grown man, and how they. That's a kind of weird vibe. That's a weird way to do things, and they're just like. And then you're gonna accuse this guy Austin of being a part of a cartel. When you make accusations like this without any facts, you're just assuming things about people without knowing what really is going on. It just shows the lack of critical thinking skills that he has, and I can't stand people like that who are trying to shame man for expanding their options when it comes on to traveling overseas and seeing what other cultures lies out there, and just seeing how it is like to deal with women from different cultures and ethnicities. He's trying to tell man now that you don't have game, and the reason why you're traveling overseas because you can't have sex in America. First of all, you sound like a feminist. Like, I'm gonna just say it. You sound like a feminist because those are shaming tactics that a woman would use against a man. Oh, the reason why you're going overseas is because you can't get laid in America. You're a gay. You're lame and all this stuff. You're using the same talking points as these so-called modern women would use to shame men for traveling overseas and expanding their horizon, and just having different options. And it sounds like to me you're having this weird fetish of like what's guys are doing with their own, what do you call it, fallacies, or which women they're intimate with. That's just some weird vibes, man. No grown man should be telling another man what they should be doing with their time, bro. Like, it's just weird to me. It doesn't make any logical sense. And I'm just saying in the sense that people gonna do what they want to do. People gonna travel to, some people like to travel just because they like to see different places. They like to witness different cultures. They like to have it like new scenery, and that's their prerogative. That's their rights to do. Like, they have the if they have the resources to do so. Who gives a fuck what they do with their time? That's their right. You don't have the right to tell a grown man what they should do with their time, and you shouldn't be acting like you're this moral superior being. Like, there's so much holes in this arguments because I'm gonna make this. There are previous videos he made stating that guys should get their passport and they should travel abroad because the women in America are no good. And now you're gonna go back in your statement. He contradicts himself so much. Like, this guy is he's wavers a lot with his thinking. Like, he goes back and forth. He flip flops in a lot of things he says because he voices frustration a lot of times. Even though this man, so called, is married. Well, you say you don't claim to be married, but he has a ring on his hand, which makes no logical sense. How can you claim not to be married, but there is a freaking ring on your hand? But this man claims that in the past he's said this, that these women in America are no good, and he's fed up and tired with dealing with these women. They're not gonna change. They're gonna get worse. And he said, guys, focus on yourself, and if you can, get a passport and travel because American women ain't good. And now, because he's trying to go after these passport boys, he's saying there's so many countless good women in America. He's like, there's hundreds, thousands, millions of good women in America. You're just not looking enough. And I'm like, you just contradict your statements. You contradict yourself. You never said that originally. Now you're shaming guys for traveling overseas because you're trying to act like as if you are the superior person when it comes on to how a man should deal with his own life and how he should handle his situation with these American women. Like, who got time to be wasting trying to go there, go there? If you live in the states and you live in a very populated area, most times people go out. They don't really socialize to get to know people. A lot of times people just hang out with people they're already familiar with. If you're a single bachelor guy, it's not in your best interest trying to um, approach these women. Even though the term, I already mentioned this, the term cold approach has a negative connotation to it because it's not something that's gonna help. It's not gonna give you any benefits. It's not going to. It's not going to help you in the long run. Now, if you don't feel like you fit in into the culture, it's all about your. It's how you feel about the situation. If you feel like you've been struggling just to fit in, you having a hard time making friends for whatever reason, why would you stay in an environment like that? That's insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different results. This man is telling guys that they should stay in an environment where they feel like they don't fit in, where they feel like they not making any progress, and they feel like they're walking in circles. Why would you stay in an environment? It would do you more harm than good to stay there and then try to fight against something that the odds are stacked against you for whatever reason. And women are very superficial nowadays, so it's like if you don't fit certain requirements that they want from you, then they're not going to give you the time of day. They're not going to accept you. They're not going to want to deal with you. So when it comes down to just how you deal with these modern women in America, it's very, very toxic, man. It's constant mind games that you got to play in trying to impress these women. So it's like, why would you put yourself through all that mess as a man that's single? Because if you're a single guy that's trying to go your own way and just trying to find your niche and what you want to do in your life, a lot of times it's just best for you to travel because it's going to give you the option to meet different women from different cultures, and it's going to expand your dating pool. And staying in America is you're limiting yourself because yeah, they got different women that come from different backgrounds and different race of there's so many different races of women. But at the same time, once they land on American soil, they're gonna be indoctrinated with American idealism and they're going to be feminized into the American culture. So they're not gonna be this sweet, feminine, good quality woman that you desire with women overseas. Now, the bad thing about it is that American culture is influencing other nations overseas too in a negative way. So there's a lot of women overseas that are becoming more Americanized. They still have very rural areas or different countries where they still keep their cultural integrity intact, where you could be able to meet women that are traditional, that will cook, clean, cater to you as a man, and just do whatever she can to please you. But when you say, "Oh, there's so much good quality women in here in America," you're making a very blank statement because the proof is once a woman lives in America, she's going to be indoctrinated by American idealism and culture, where she's not going to be that same traditional woman that she was when she was in a foreign country. So I just don't understand why this man is trying to act like he's this moral superior person. It's just I find it very you know it's clown stuff, man. It's childish behavior, and you know Instead of him trying to, encourage these men and just be careful. Of course, there's anywhere you go, you have to be careful. You have to know your environment. You got to be aware of your surroundings. But you say that he also made this other blank statement that guys who are going overseas, majority of them have horror stories. And like I said, how do you know this for a fact? Where's your empirical evidence to show that majority of guys who travel overseas have horror stories? Because there's multiple stories of guys who travel overseas, and they, of course, they do their research before they travel, which is common sense. Before you go anywhere, you got to do your research. You got to know what you're getting into. You can't just travel to any place. But at the same time, to just say every guy that travel overseas have horror stories is ridiculous. You're sounding very idiotic right now because you're making general statements that are not backed up with any facts. And also, you're saying for the fact of going back to the original point that I made, to say every guy that joined the movement of the passport bros, which is just a term because he's putting everybody under the same category. So any guys who have a passport and travel overseas, he's gonna group them in the same category. He said basically MGTOW is joining forces with the passport bros and they're under the same umbrella now. So he's basically saying any guy that practice their option to travel overseas in order to learn about the culture, meet different women and stuff. Is just basically all of them are going overseas for the sole purpose of having sex with women. I'm like, dude, you can't make general statements like that. Where is your facts? Where is just like you have no data to prove any of the stuff you're saying? And then he's so arrogant where he thinks that what he's saying is true. And I'm like, you don't have any clue what you're talking about. And another thing too that I have a problem with this is that if a man decides he's gonna go overseas and he's gonna have fun with women, and he spent his hard-earned money, and even if it didn't come from him, if he get donation from other people, he's not out here robbing from other people. He's not stealing. He's not committing any crime. He did it the legal way. If he did everything the legal way, no one should be telling him what he should be doing with his own fucking time. You shouldn't be dick policing a grown man. What? Oh, you going overseas? Why you fucking these other ones? As long as he's not catching, he's having safe sex, right? As long as he's not catching an STD or he's so-called, doing anything that is illegal, why the fuck you trying to tell a man what he should do with his own time, man? It makes no logical sense. So I just don't understand why these so-called YouTubers and then dating coaches are going after these guys because they're losing money. Because the dating coach is telling you, oh, it's about your game, it's about your confidence, it's about this and that, and why you're not attracting women. You're the problem. Guys say, no, I'm tired of dealing with these fucking mind games that I have to go through to attract these women. It's like I'm never good enough. I have to always do more and more and more and more and more. And a woman could just sit there and just pick and choose out of the guys that she sees fit, but she don't have to prove herself to you. A lot of guys saying they're tired of putting up with the mind games that these American women have for them. And why would they deal with the stress of that? So they rather just travel and deal with women that are more grounded, that are more level-minded, because a lot of these women in America think that they're too good for you. They think too highly of themselves. There's nothing to wrong with feeling confident about yourself, but when you reach a point where it leads to you thinking that you're better than everybody else and that you're superior to someone because of your looks, that's when it leads to you feeling a sense of superiority over your fellow humans. And guys don't want to deal with that mess, man. Guys don't want to deal with the headaches of having to walk on eggshell with these American women and trying to do everything to please these women who don't care about them. It's not worth it, man. In my situation, I've dated women in America, but it's like the amount of stress, the amount of headaches you have to go through to get to the box, or what do you call it? The amount, even sex is not even that important to me. It's more about the companionship. But women don't want to build. A lot of these women don't want to build with a good quality man. A lot of them don't want to settle down and start a family. They just want to live their best life now. And he knows that. He knows these American women ain't no good. But yet he's still trying to shame these men for traveling overseas when it's something that he said it in his past videos that guys need to get their passport and travel overseas. And now he's talking about, oh, if you travel overseas, that leaves more women for me, and that's less competition. This dude is a contradictory. He just contradicts himself so much, man. Like he say one thing and then do something else. He goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with stuff he do. He acts like a female, man. That's just my honest opinion, you know. Only women do shit like that. Trying to dick police a man and what he should do with his time, trying to shame him for traveling, trying to do things that he wants to do in his own time. And if he has the resources, the money and the resources to go overseas, no one should be telling him what he should do with his own money. That's his rights. You know what I mean? That's his business. Mind your fucking business. Try and tell people what to do and focus on your fucking life and try not to tell a grown man what he should do with his time. I rest my case, man. There's other things I want to talk about, but you know, those are the main ones that I want to mention. Um, Everybody has the right to do what makes them happy. No one should be forcing you to do something you don't want to do, and you shouldn't feel guilty for, traveling overseas. But it doesn't matter where you go. You just got to know your environment. You got to know where you're getting into. You have to do your research. You have to do the diligence work that's required for you in order to understand the type of country you're traveling to and what to expect in that country. You got to know the laws. You got to know the statute. You got to know what to expect when you go there, so you don't get caught off guard and you don't get caught up in the system. So you have to know that stuff. So those are common just knowledge that you should know. But in terms of just going overseas and living there, some people don't have the luxury to do so. And so what? At least they're going overseas. At least they do something that they're never done before. At least they're not afraid to step outside their comfort zone. While you're fucking staying in America and you judging these niggas, you're not doing anything close to what they're doing. So stay your fucking ass in your place and try to tell a grown man what they should do with their time. It just doesn't make any fucking sense, man. I rest my case and I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching, and take care and have a good one. Bye.